Welcome to another edition of the Defo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Each week, we are honored and privileged to talk to South Florida broadcasting icon Tony Segreto. He has covered the Miami Dolphins for over 4 decades. He's close to Dan Marino, was very close to Don Shula, and he joins us today to talk about the very busy offseason the Miami Dolphins have had. Did not get a chance to talk to him since the Tyreek Hill move. And it's funny, on the show, Defo and I have been sort of pegged as the cynical people because I'm born and raised here. Defo has worked in South Florida doing sports talk for over 40 years. So we've been around a lot of losing. So we've gotten sort of jaded. Tony Segretol's known as the positive, the hopeful person when it comes to talking South Florida sports. So we'll see if he brings his positivity today after it seems hard to be negative when it comes to all the great things going on in South Florida sports, especially the last week the Miami Dolphins had. We talk with Mr. Miami Dolphins, one and only Tony Segreto, right here, the Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Welcome back to the show.
How did you brought that up? You're the one who said, I'm going to go to church with you on Sunday. I had nothing to do with that. I had nothing.
The likelihood of that is 0.0. Tony. I mean, that's something. Saying this purely as entertainment.
Absolutely, it was all entertainment. I mean, you'd probably fall down if you walked into a church.
I've been in a church a couple of times. I would say. One time, I don't even want to say what I was engaged in doing because the church was empty, or so I thought. And I was up in the balcony with a friend of mine who I just made the acquaintance of on the quad, and things got a little out of hand. But the likelihood of me going with you is 0.0. Now, I will say this: I have bought in on something, Tony, and this may come as a surprise to you. All right.
Wait, should I be Fred Sanford here? This could be the big one, Elizabeth.
I don't know. I mean, it isn't like it takes a genius to come around to this point of view. But and for years, I mean, when you mention the Miami Dolphins, they were the emblem of class. You can hear John Facetta in your head saying, Don Shula and the Miami Dolphins. And
were with capital letters is the opposite.
Great organization. I mean, just unbelievable. They stood for everything that was righteous and good about sports, and they did it the right way, and they abided by the rules, and they worked hard, and they had the 6 practices a day, and Shoes was, as iconic a sports figure as you could ever come across. I mean, up there with anybody that is emblematic and symbolic of greatness. And then they went into total chaos. But I'm buying in. I don't know if this is by just pure bizarre luck and circumstance or if it's by design, but whatever it is, they sort of have me back. I mean, after 20 years of ineptitude and my and bad decisions and poor free agent signings and poor drafts and ugliness and losses and accusations of sports bribery and all kinds of stuff, when he got Tyreek Hill after signing a couple of offensive linemen in the offseason, and I'm thinking, this Jalen Waddle, he's not far behind Tyreek Hill at this point, and when he was only a rookie last year. All of a sudden, I'm starting to think that you can make up for the fact that maybe Tua has some flaws, but his skills and what he is good at seems to fit the personnel that they're going to be able to line up with. I don't know. Are you sold that the Miami Dolphins, in what's going to be a very, very tough AFC, are once again contenders based on the moves they made, and that they're operating under sound principle and thought processes?
I think that they are probably working under sound principle. Am I sold? No, because
you're not sold.
Because you still have to.
Oh my God! Holy Bob Kuchenberg, you're not sold, Tony?
Not yet. Nope.
Oh my God! I'm so deflated. I really thought I was pumping you up into a cheerleading session almost for the Dolphins, like we've been having here.
Listen. I'm excited about the moves. I'm happy about the moves. It seems to me on paper, the moves are great, but we've seen.
What's the holdup
before? You still have to put them out on the field and execute. They still,
Tua's
still got to get them the ball.
So Tony Segreto's more jaded than us.
They still have to make it. They still have to make it. The quarterback still has to make a quick decision. I don't know if we can do. We haven't seen that.
Did you have a bad meal yesterday?
Wow,
no, I had.
Did you wake up and hit your head?
Meals yesterday.
You've been doing shows with us too long.
Listen. Let's put it this way. We'll change it up. I'm cautiously, with capital letters and exclamation points, wondering, or I don't even want to put
That's not a ringing
Yes.
endorsement. We're
Optimistic.
buying in, Tony. The cynical ones, the people that perpetually are telling people don't
there
believe
must
a thing
be,
that you
there's got to
see.
be something in it for you, because you can't
don't
just
know.
be doing it on a whim.
I think they'll be exciting again. I really believe
hope,
that.
I hope.
Yes.
Listen, I can only hope. And
Cautiously
I hope the fans
hopeful.
get excited, and I hope everybody's raving about our new coach. Other
I'm
coaches
shocked.
are raving about him, and I hope, and I pray. You know who I hope for? I hope
You
for
sound
the
like
real
Dusty Springfield,
guy-
wishing and hoping. I mean, what is going
well,
on
that's
here?
kind of how I feel. Here's
Sounds
the
like
thing.
Osteen.
For the fans who have stuck in there, for the fans who have believed, I'm just not there yet. I'm not there yet.
Wow. I'm floored.
I'm not-
I don't even know what to do.
Right.
I mean, should we go to a break? I'm absolutely stunned here. I mean, it's like I got hit with a right hand by Aaron Pryor right out of the corner in the first round.
I'm not there yet. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, I may be.
I bought season tickets yesterday. I mean, I went out of my way.
Well, you can afford it, for goodness sake. You want to have $11,000.
Well, I'm going back to lose 3 dimes right back to the place. I know
you're
that.
going to come back with 50,000. You're going to have, you're
That'd
going
be
to
nice.
be,
Oh,
your
my
pockets
God.
will be full. They'll be questioning you.
Wouldn't that be great? I'm no good at lotteries and drawings, though. The only lottery I ever was lucky on was the draft lottery when they first. I mean, remember when they had that? I don't know if you were
me too.
involved. I was in school at the time, and so I
me
had
too.
the exemption. And then, like the first 5 numbers that were drawn, like 1 through 5. 3, and they had that drawing on the air. I don't know if you remember this. It was like being broadcast on the radio.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm listening. I was, you'll find this surprising. I was on my way back from a racetrack, going back to my home where I was living on Long Island with my parents at the time. And they drew the numbers. Oh, I think I was on my way back from working at Shea. That's when it was. I was, selling souvenirs that day. And I turned on the radio in the car, and they announced the first number. Like number 1 was July something. All right. I'm born July 5th. And then like 2 and 4 were also days in July. And I thought, oh, God, I think I'm going to be spared, the agony of trying to figure out what to do with this proposition of getting drafted, which I wasn't a fan of the idea. At that point, I mean, we had realized that, going to Vietnam was not going to be a favorable thing, no matter how much of a loyal American that you were. And, the alternatives weren't great. But I ended up with a number like 285 or something.
Yeah, I was pretty high.
There was no
too.
shot. Yeah,
I was pretty high too, and in school. So, but yeah, no, I remember that. In fact, I was telling Roseanne last night. Every once in a while, you talk about old school. Every once in a while, I'll listen to classic radio, like the old radio shows.
Oh yeah,
And,
War of the Worlds, one of our favorites.
Yeah, I remember. Because I remember as a small boy, my dad and I at night, God rest his soul, we would listen to radio shows. We'd listen to, the Lone Ranger or Superman on the radio. And that was such a great visual. That's why I love listening to baseball games on the radio, the way they painted the picture of what the day was like, what the banners were like, all of that. And it was a Bob Hope show. And at the end of the show, he was in Washington, and he just started talking about the hardest job in the world. He got a chance to see the president. He said, the hardest job in the world is president of the United States. And he said, think about when he gets up in the morning, how he walks in his office and he's staring, the Cold War in the face. He's staring, the H-bomb. And I'm thinking to myself, have things really changed?
No.
They really haven't. In all those years, they really have not changed at all. I mean,
well, there was a period there where he was staring at Monica Lewinsky. Who? How did she end up on the red carpet of the Oscars?
This was back in 1948. So
all right. You're going way back. All right.
Yeah. So
all right, very good.
Yeah. God forbid,
No, these are hideous problems and considerations. I mean, I'm watching the news and you're thinking, this maniac is maybe an inch away from saying, well, what the hell, man? I don't care. So let's just throw some nuclear weapons out there.
It's difficult. It really is. But anyway,
Kim Jong-un seems to be in the minor leagues, even though he's launching missiles that could wipe out entire countries in the span of seconds. Yeah.
I'm going to go back to what you were saying. Listen, I really want to say this. I like I said to you earlier about the UN basketball team and how that basketball team energized this community. There is nothing, and we've talked about, there are 2 things that galvanize a community: championships, sports championships in some form or fashion, or disasters in some form or fashion. Both of those entities, both of those moments in time galvanize a community. Remember how this community came together after Hurricane Andrew.
Andrew was crazy.
It was remarkable how this community.
People were cooperating with each other.
After Irene, and I mean, just amazing times. And then when you go back to the championships, whether it was my UM's championships, whether it was baseball or football, and then you have the Heat's championships and the Marlins run during the World Series, and of course the Dolphins in '72 and '73, and all of those times, those moments, really brought a community together. Yep. So if we can create that kind of enthusiasm and that kind of bonding again by our teams, whether it's the Dolphins, the Heat, the Panthers, the University of Miami, I'm all for it. I'm just not sure yet. We have seen the charlatans come into town year after year after year, and the excitement is falsely placed. All I'm saying is I'm looking at this and going, on paper, we are doing the right thing. It's exciting to have Tyreek Hill. It's exciting. Listen, I agree with you about Jalen Waddle. I think he is the real deal.
That's great.
I really do. But again, we have to remember how many times, and again, this is not being cynical, it's just being pragmatic.
I can't believe
how many times have we seen, we can flip it either way, a player who is supposed to be an all-pro that is not living up to his or her potential is traded to another team, and they thrive and they explode, and man, they are the all-star. And how many times have we seen the all-star and the all-pro go from one team to another, and all of a sudden it evaporates.
Especially when he's going to the Dolphins of late.
Yeah, exactly. So my point, that's my point. Let's see how this plays out. Listen, all indications are what you're saying, that it's going to be, they'll be competitive and they're going to be, a team to reckon with. And I pray, if you want to come to church with me, I pray that you're right, because it's great for the community.
Outside, scalp some tickets.
And I feel that, I'm optimistic about the University of Miami too. I just feel everything is in place. Now let's see what happens. I feel the energy. Go ahead, Lubie.
Well, my thing is, okay, look, and I don't actually agree with a lot of what this guy says. I don't even follow him on Twitter, but someone retweeted something Omar Kelly said, and he's covered the team for the last 15 years. So if you've covered this, but if you covered the team during this era, jaded is an understatement. Like, you're way worse than that, and I get it. You've seen guys come into this organization who are well thought of, and they make moves. Look, even Joe Philbin, who we mock, Cam Cameron, who we mock, we're actually big head coaching targets before the Dolphins got him. Like, people forget that offseason, Cam Cameron was a big deal. Like, the Chargers offense was amazing, and people were looking at Cam Cameron, not just the Dolphins. Joe Philbin, the same thing. Like, Aaron Rodgers personally vouched for Joe Philbin, just like Peyton Manning vouched for Adam Gase. So I get it. This isn't the first time in that regard, but you're taking that on its own. Look at everything else that's come with Mike McDaniel. The staff he's put around them has never gotten credit. With like the other staffs that people put together were jokes. Like the staff Mike McDaniel's put around former head coaches, former college coaches that excelled. Like, he went out of the box and hired people
former Dolphin players,
former players that had success.
It's
been different than any other coaching hire they've made. The moves they've made are strategic. Even Tyreek Hill, and we had Frank Schwab on, believe, yesterday, and he was categorically wrong. Like, Tyreek Hill actually has had he had 111 catches last year. Less than 20 were deep balls. Less than 20, which that means 90 or more catches were exactly what Tua excels at. So it's the perfect move for Tua. Like, every move they've made is something we've never seen before from past regimes. So that's one reason I have excitement, because at least there's a plan and they're following it. Will it work? Who knows? But at least it's different.
I agree. You know what? I agree with you. There is a plan. And let's put it this way. It's sort of like I feel like I'm walking into this room, and instead of just, opening the curtain and stepping right in, I'm sort of pulling the curtain back and looking first. That's my point. And it's not being pessimistic at all. I'm not pessimistic. I'm just being cautious. That's all. I don't want to be duped again.
People are going to think Vince McMahon put us up to this role reversal here, where all of a sudden you turned into the bad guy, Tony Segretto. My God, did you hear Lubie's impassioned? I mean, Lubie is more cynical than I am about the Miami Dolphins. I've become like a lot of people, and this is really unfortunate, because we have two teams that are at the very apex of their sport, with the Miami Heat still in first place in a tough Eastern Conference, and the Florida Panthers lighting it up. I mean, in their conference, running away.
Hey, by the way, can I get in on that bet? I'll go to
We should all go against Mayo.
Well, I mean, are you willing to endure the possible pain if Mayo turns out to be right? This cynical.
What is Mayo?
Mike Mayo.
Thinking?
Well, he has a thing for
he's thinking that it's happened before, and he's thinking exactly what you're saying about the Dolphins. Like, until I see it, I don't believe it. Like,
yeah,
like
I
you're from
get
Missouri.
it. I get it. I get it. Especially for those of us who have been down here so long and got now, to your point, Lubie, gone through this stretch where we're like, okay, we've had all these people come in and do all that stuff. All I'm saying is, I am excited that we've made the moves, and on paper, I think they've been strategically done properly. I think that McDaniel brings in a youthful approach to this game, and I don't mean because of his age as much as it is the way he thinks.
Yep.
And the way he thinks is he's looking at his strategies a little bit differently, and I think that that's what you need. Now let's see if we can take all of those pieces and build the house. Okay, we've got all the lumber, we have all the cement, we have everything we need. Now do we have the people to assemble it and put it up so it stays up?
I'm laughing because I'm picturing you, and I can still see you standing there in your beautiful suit, with the hair perfectly coiffed there, and the makeup, just laid out so that the lighting accentuated every favorable feature of
Handsome
your face.
guy.
A very handsome Tony Segreto. And the schedule had come out, and a war had broken out in the Ukraine, but they decided to table that story to have you pick the games before the season started, which ones the Phins are going to win and lose. This is the same guy that used to have them at 11-5 virtually every year, 12-4.
Listen, I'm just hoping.
What happened? Was that all a fraud, Tony? What was that?
I would be jumping up and down at 10-6. Are you kidding me? I would be like, are you kidding me right now? This is the best thing that's happened since I don't know when. But that would
10-7 won't do it though. Added game. I do believe this though. And this is true about sports and teams play in general. I believe that sometimes you fix other components, and it also elevates and accentuates the things that you want your quarterback to have as part of the offense, influenced by the things that he does well. If you're a good coach, So you can. I don't know. That we interviewed Jason Cole. Said that the Tyreek Hill thing happened more by just happenstance instead of circumstance. That it really just fell in their lap. It wasn't like they were thinking, "Oh, good, we're going to get Tyreek Hill."
Right.
But when they did, and they made that move, and you're thinking, okay, what does Tua do well? He runs a little bit to his left, and he fires a dart. And all these guys need. They're both Waddle and Hill, tremendous playmakers after the catch. And as Lubie said, most of the balls that Hill catches are inside of 5-6 yards.
Yep.
Of the line of scrimmage.
Here's the important thing that you just brought out. Okay, what was it, or what is it that makes great coaches great? What was it about Don Shula that made him great? He did not force his system on his team.
That's it.
He allowed his team to create the system by what they did well.
Yeah.
Right. So with Greasy, he ran. With Woodley, he had kind of an option.
Woodley hid at the exit. What are you talking about?
Yeah, with he had the two quarterback system, and then with Marino was we're just gonna throw it around.
Hey, there you go, Dan. Yeah.
And so he was able to take all of these. He left the great high top Johnny Unitas in Oromoro to come here. And what did they throw? What did Greasy throw in that first Super Bowl? 14 passes for the second 12. Super Bowl? 14 passes, something like that?
I think it was 7.
It was like 7 or 8.
And
7 passes the whole game. And he had Paul Warfield.
Yeah, Warfield.
Yeah, probably arguably the great. To me,
he's a top 5 or 10
to me,
receiver.
Paul Warfield may arguably be, if not the greatest, within the top 5 all-time receivers.
Very gracious gentleman.
Playing
Also.
the worst ever
for
throwing.
And so he was able to do that, and great coaches do that. And if McDaniel can do that, to your point, that's who the coach is. That's the coach that really understands the game, that looks at his players and says, okay, here's what they do well. We're going to accentuate that instead of putting them in, what did Wooden say? The best strategy in the world isn't the best strategy if you don't have a player who can execute it.
Exactly.
Just like
I think this guy can play this kind of offense. I really do. I've been
tough on Tua,
extolling the whole idea that his limitations were maybe going to preclude him from ever being a great quarterback in the NFL. But with this assemblage of talent, including a couple of offensive linemen, it does seem to me that this will accentuate what he does well, which is fire that short pass in there, and he's very accurate with that ball, and then that'll open things up a little bit. Hopefully, where he can drop one in over the top every now and then.
The truth of the matter is this: if you don't have anybody who can protect you,
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
Well, and that was the problem of Philbin, who was an offensive line coach, and Cameron and Gase and Flores. They never addressed the offensive line, and Greer supposedly did it, and McDaniel said, "Screw you. This is what we're doing. We're getting the best left tackle on the market. We're getting the best guard on the market. Hunt is good. And then we're going to draft guys because I'm protecting Tua. I don't care what these idiots have done in the past." And that's why I'm actually confident, because my dad's been bitching about the offensive line since I'm 16 years old. And it feels like first time since Richmond Webb and Keith Sims, they actually have a line that may not have their quarterback die. So it's like, okay, they're trying.
If this works, Lubie, if this works, I think that you should go to the Dolphin facility and beg them to go up to Tallahassee and teach Mike Norvell and that staff how to get a good offensive line for their quarterbacks in Florida State. That's what I think you need to do.
All in.
The cynics are weighing in on your side, Tony. Our
see?
good friend Andy says that Waddle will be injured by week 8 with turf toe out for the season, and then get some cockamamie medical advice like
That's
they gave O.J. McDuffie, our good friend, and the next thing you know, they're victim or targets and principals in another lawsuit.
So that was an interesting time with Tony Segreto. For once, we've been doing stuff with Tony Segreto for years now. It's always Defo and I negative, cynical. Tony makes fun of us for being cynical. He's the hopeful, the positive, the welcoming Tony Segreto. So for once, we switch roles. Defo and I are very positive about the Miami Dolphins moves, and at worst see an exciting team that should be fun to watch and hopefully wins. At best, a team that makes the playoffs and can make a deep playoff run, and to entrench himself as not only franchise quarterback but a superstar at quarterback. Tony Segreto, Mr. Hopeful, Mr. Positive, was actually pretty negative. He didn't say the Dolphins will be bad, but again, he's covered and been around the Dolphins for a long time, and he's seen this last 20 years of futility, so he's a little underwhelmed in the sense that he does not know what to do. He's happy about the moves. He likes the moves, but he is unsure what they will do. He's not even cautiously optimistic. He's cautiously wondering, but I'm taking that as cautiously hopeful, and I laid my case, as you heard, and I'm hoping it sort of changed his mind. The reality is this. The Miami Dolphins have had a lot of these off seasons where they make moves and people get excited. True. They hire coaches and people get excited. True. But were they this? And that's the thing I'm taking umbrage with a lot of different people with their negativity, because you don't have to assume the Dolphins will win the Super Bowl. Who is? I mean, the AFC's freaking ridiculous. But the Dolphins are in the mix. The Dolphins were in the mix the last 2 years with a quarter of the talent they have on offense now. They literally, at every position, are vastly superior than they were before, and return most of the defense, if not have improved on defense. So why can't they be better? Yeah, the competition's stiffer, but they should be right there. And for all the knocks on Tua, if you look at his deep ball percentage, it was number 1 in the league, while also being least sacked, okay, even though he was top 5 in being pressured. So the kid didn't forget how to play quarterback. The kid didn't lose his abilities. He was getting rocked. Like, if you have less than a second or less to throw, how are you supposed to get the ball deep? Like, it's not that he's inaccurate or unable to get it deep. He literally was physically impossible. He didn't have receivers that could get down there. When they got down there, they dropped the ball. They didn't create separation. And on top of that, he didn't have a chance to get it down there. When he did have a chance to get it down there, he was great. He was as good, if not better, than anyone. So getting the ball deep is not Tua's problem. Getting time to get the ball deep was his problem. The opposite of that, the question of, well, Tyreek Hill is a deep ball threat. No, he's not. Yeah, he's a deep ball threat, but he's not Mr. 9 route. He's not Kevin Williams with the Dallas Cowboys and Alvin Harper, where his only job is to go deep. You know, Mike Wallace with the Steelers, where the Dolphins brought him over because he was going to help Ryan Tannehill go deep, but he couldn't do anything else. No, he's not. That's not him. He's a well-rounded receiver. And again, when you break down Tyreek Hill's receptions, which he had 111 of them last year, I think it was less than 10, but I'm going to be conservative and say less than 20. Less than 20 were over 20 yards in the air. You know where Tua excels? From 10 to 20 yards in the air. And that's where the majority, from like the line of scrimmage to 15 yards is where Tyreek Hill caught most of his balls, and that's where Tua excels. So then why wouldn't this be a perfect fit? And Jalen Waddle is mini Tyreek Hill and can only grow. Like, the more they're trying to make this team fast. They're trying to put the defense on their heels. Isn't that a good thing? It's fun to watch, one, and it's great for a quarterback who gets rid of the ball quickly and is accurate. The defense can never get settled in, and the receivers will get the ball in their hands and be able to make plays. I don't see where the negative is there. Will they win the Super Bowl? I don't know. But they'll be a lot more fun, and Tua will be in a much better position to succeed. It seems pretty simple. So hopefully we got through to Tony Segreto. Hopefully you all enjoy that. We will talk so much more of the South Florida sports scene. Check us out every morning, 7 to 9 a.m. on the Ion channel. Really just look up the Defo Show. Google it. DEFO. You should check us out. Our exclusive content podcast today. We have Handicapper, the hilarious, the envelope pushing, and the pretty good Handicapper, the champ, the great Brandon Lang joins us on our Believe podcast. Just search Believe Network after hours. And of course, each and every day we get our South Florida stuff your way right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, the Defo Show with Lubie. Thank you to Tony Segretol for joining us today. Check you out tomorrow on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
Since day one of Old School, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy, and if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat, 24/7, Catholic Health Services.